Welcome into another edition of our Soccer Down Here virtual brewery tour. We'll have the real thing happening very soon, and this is an opportunity to get to know some of the places that we'll be visiting in real life when we're able. Today, it's Dry County Brewing. Trey, thanks for the time. I really appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I want to introduce you guys to people who I've been really intrigued by all of this, because soccer and breweries have a lot more in common than I would have guessed going into it. You know, it's all about building a community, and it's all about learning about different communities, and it feels like every brewery kind of has its own community, but is also open to, you know, friends who like a different brewery come out and test it out, and then your community grows. How did everything get started for you at Dry County?
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. I think for us at Dry County, how we got started was, myself. I got into craft beer in college. I'm from Georgia, lived in Georgia my whole life. Went to school out in Athens. Got into craft beer out there. Drinking Terrapin at the time was the only brewery in town, and started home brewing because I was actually not old enough to purchase craft beer legally, so I started brewing my own. And got hooked on the art and science of homebrewing. Moved to Kennesaw after college, and there were no local breweries in Kennesaw at the time. It was before a lot of the local guys that exist now. And told my homebrew buddies, you know what, we should start the Terrapin of Kennesaw, and that was kind of what kicked it off. That was several years before we actually got started, because there's a lot that goes into it, as we found out. But eventually we're able to bring Dry County to life and start the tap room there in Kennesaw, and we've since grown to distribute kegs and cans around the state of Georgia. So it's been fun, and been a fun, I guess, going on 4 years now. So
when you started on the home side, what was the first kind of beer that you wanted to make yourself?
Yeah, back when I was homebrewing, it was all about what we call cloning, trying to copy existing commercial beers. So for me, it was stuff like Terrapin Rye Pale Ale, or Sweetwater 420, or Sierra Nevada Pale, kind of the stuff that I was drinking and wanted to try to recreate. And then it was also getting into beers that, you know, maybe I couldn't get in Georgia, but I'd heard were delicious and wanted to try to recreate. So, you know, whether it was a Pliny the Elder or a Blind Pig or beers like that, just trying to recreate these beers that I'd heard so much about but couldn't commercially purchase.
And then once you went into, you know, the business side of things, when did you feel like Dry County kind of hit its stride, found its trademark beer?
Yeah, I think that's something where, you know, it's an interesting question, because this industry is ever changing and always evolving. Dry County IPA is our flagship, our bestseller. It has been from day one. It's a classic American IPA, and that's our bestseller. But kind of what is popular and what is trending is changing all the time. Honestly, you know, every couple months we've got a new beer that's a more popular one or more sought after one. And so that's what's always fun, is to kind of try to chase those trends and find out what they might be. We were the first brewery in the state to ever get into spirits as well. So we also have our distilling license. And, you know, right now our most popular product is actually a ready-to-drink vodka cocktail in a can. So, you know, we're always trying to push the boundaries on what's new and out there, and try to be innovative along the way.
I love that. And it's, like you said, you're the first in the state to have both sides of it. How hard was it to start on the distillery side?
Yeah, I don't know if it was difficult or just a lengthy process in terms of nobody had ever done it before. So there were a lot of questions that had to be answered from a regulatory side and a legal side and all of that. So, you know, it was nearly a year-long process working with the state of Georgia to show them, you know, we already have our federal license, because that's pretty common for breweries around the country to do both. So we'd gotten our federal distilling permit, and the city of Kennesaw had signed off on allowing us to do it, or being okay with the idea of us doing it. So it was just a lengthy process with the state, kind of coming up with what are the regulations and rules we need to abide by, and all of that. And so yeah, once we got the state's approval, it's honestly been a fairly seamless transition, and that a lot of the processes are the same, a lot of the equipment's the same, a lot of the ingredients are the same. And at the end of the day, we're creating a product that in some ways is very similar to the consumer.
Now, I got to ask you about my favorite beer of yours, the Lechuza. I love that. It's one that I always, it's in my constant rotation that I like to have at home. What led you guys down the road of creating a Mexican lager?
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of Lechuza myself. Good, easy drinker, kind of all the time beer. And what led us to that was really kind of going back to innovation and pushing the boundaries on stuff. Is that lighter beers, lagers, and blonde ales and things were becoming more popular with craft beer drinkers. We needed one in our portfolio, but we didn't want to just go out and create a lager or a pilsner like so many other breweries were. We wanted to kind of forge our own path a little bit. And nobody locally had a Mexican lager at the time, but Mexican lagers are obviously a very popular style of beer, so for good reason. So rather than doing an American lager or a German pilsner, we decided to go with the Mexican lager kind of theme. I personally love drinking Mexican lagers. Our brewmaster loves drinking Mexican lagers, Steve Anderson. So that was kind of an easy decision and path for us, and one we went down. And Lechuza's 100% kind of classic two-style Mexican lager, traditional in process and in ingredients. And I'd put it up there with any of the true Mexican lagers for sure.
Yeah, I love it. I've got to try the lime variant as well. I've not had that yet.
Yeah, it is also delicious.
All right, so you're getting into the spring. Things are looking great here in 2020. I know you guys do a lot with Atlanta United too, and their supporters as well. So all the planning is getting underway, and then everything hits with coronavirus. How have you guys navigated this whole process of shutting down, selling curbside, and just figuring out moving forward?
Yeah, the professional sports side of Corona is definitely one of the big bummers, I guess, out of all of it. Less serious than all the health issues, but definitely a bummer for sure. But from a business standpoint, how we've kind of tried to navigate this period is a big shift from draft beer over to packaged beer. No one's buying kegs right now with bars and restaurants shut down, so as quickly as we could transition more of our production to packaged goods, to 12 and 16 ounce cans. Stocked up the tasting room on that. To your point, tasting rooms in Georgia, breweries in Georgia all moved to curbside, to go only, no on-site drinking. So we quickly changed our hours around and our offerings, and the community, kind of how you kicked off the community really rallied around us, and we've seen a huge outpouring of support from Kennesaw and really from Metro Atlanta and Georgia in terms of coming out to the brewery and buying Lechuza and buying Dry County IPA, buying the vodkas and grabbing those to go and take home when they can't enjoy them with us. And then in addition to that, we really quickly kind of evaluated the circumstance, and we're hearing kind of horror stories of sanitizer shortages and sanitizer price gouging, and really quickly transitioned our vodka business over to a hand sanitizer production. So really quickly started making bulk sanitizer and signed an agreement with the state of Georgia and the FEMA kind of disaster relief efforts to be able to supply those guys with thousands of gallons of sanitizer that's going directly to all the hospitals and healthcare providers around the state, which has been awesome and rewarding to see for sure, and definitely trying to play as our part that we can in all of this. So
see, that's another area where there's a lot of crossover. You've seen soccer supporters groups doing a lot of community-based projects right now. We're seeing Atlanta United 2, the Atlanta United Academy, all doing things to benefit their community. And from talking to all of you guys on this virtual brewery tour, a lot of you are really stepping up and doing your part as well, and helping the people who come out and visit you guys on a regular basis.
Yep. And then for sure. And in addition to supplying the state and the hospitals, to your point, the folks who are coming out, we're also able to provide them with sanitizer bottles free of charge, just for coming out and seeing us and, being in need and needing that and trying to stay safe through all of this. So everybody who's swung by the brewery and wanted any has been able to pick up some Dry County sanitizer and take that with them as well, whether they grab beer or spirits or not. So
that's awesome. And I know one thing that will be very cool when we're able to get back to normal, it's something that started building up last year, was Atlanta United 2 fans coming by, pregame to see you guys and then heading over to Fifth Third Bank at Kennesaw State for matches. How did the relationship start with the different Atlanta United 2 supporters?
Yeah, no, the Atlanta United 2 supporters have been awesome, and we've loved having them out at the brewery before and after games, and we broadcast all the games we can as well from the brewery and show those. But it's been great. The supporters group, the Two Spikes, reached out to us, I guess ahead of last season, looking for a place to have an official tailgate and that sort of thing. We kind of then ramped it up a notch with them and ended up brewing a somewhat official beer for the team, for the supporters group. Our Two Spikes Red Pilsner, which was awesome. Got some cans done that the supporters were able to come by and grab and take to all the games and even to some of the away games and trade with those supporter groups and things like that. So it's been really cool. It's been awesome to have those guys in, and they know how to party and drink beer for sure. So that's been fun. That's definitely another thing soccer fans and craft beer fans have in common for sure.
See, I think now we've hit on it, why there's so much crossover. Soccer fans can definitely put away some beer, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Well, when we get back to all this, I know Scott Flood and the Flood Project has really worked hard on creating the virtual tour as a holdover, but we will be heading up to see you guys. When we get back to a normal schedule on the USL Championship, we'll definitely be doing some stuff with Atlanta United 2 games, whether home or away. We're going to really get back to it hopefully soon, and hopefully, it feels like it changes day to day, but hopefully we'll have some fans in the stands before the year is out. I think that's what we're all crossing our fingers for, and hopefully you guys will have some supporters in your tap room here very soon.
Yeah, for sure. And both places, the tap room and Fifth Third Stadium for Atlanta United 2 and Mercedes-Benz for Atlanta United. Definitely look for Lechuza, the Mexican lager we were talking about. They carry it at those stadiums, and Blueberry Lemonade vodka as well. So
awesome. How can everybody keep up with everything you guys are doing right now? Where can they follow you guys?
Yeah, our social media is our best spot. So Dry County Brew Co. on Facebook and on Instagram. And then we also, if you're looking for our products, we have a product finder on our website, which is drycountybrewco.com. You can type in your zip code or type in the product you're looking for and find any bars, restaurants, package stores that might be carrying it. So.
Excellent. Well, I will be heading out to one of those places here this weekend, stocking back up on Lechuza, and we'll be seeing you guys very soon.
Awesome. Thanks very much.
Trey, Sinclair, thanks for joining us here on Soccer Down Here.